Hi friends, it's Terry Stewart, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in the U.S. and Central Maryland. Welcome to our first 2024 Global Share Fair. I'm away from my craft room, so I've pre-recorded this video tutorial featuring the Bee My Valentine bundle. I'm really excited to share it with you and my fun fold. So let me jump in. So this is the bundle I'll be using today in my Fun Fold project. It's the Bee My Valentine stamp set and the coordinating punch. And my project today will use several images from this stamp set. And we'll be using the Happy Valentines, You'll Always Be the One for Me, parts of the bee, the wings, a face, and I think that might be all. But this stamp set is great for other occasions because it also says, I'll love you no matter what. And it has some flowers, some stems and flowers down here, hearts, all kinds of little hearts. So it really is a set that doesn't have to be used at Valentine. It could be used throughout the year, especially in the spring, I think, with these flowers. So let me bring in my project and show you that. My Fun Fold project, here it is. So not only have I used the punch to build a bee, I've used it for these little hearts here. And on the inside, I've stamped some hearts. And these are the supplies I'll be using to create my card. I have some scraps of white, basic white and petal pink that I'll be using. And then I have my card base. I'm starting with a piece that's a half of a sheet of cardstock, and I am going to cut it. And then I have a piece of Whisper White that's 4 by 5 1/4. That's 10 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters. Let me shift some things and bring in my DSP. So here's the DSP that I'm going to be using, and this is Be Mine. This is also from the mini catalog, the January to April mini catalog. This is one page, one design out of that pack. And so we're using this pattern and the one on the back. So let me bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut this paper to be 4 inches or 10 centimeters. And because my pattern really has an up and down, I'm doing the 4 inch this way, or you could do your 10 centimeters because my card is a portrait card, so I want the pattern to be in a portrait mode. So I'm going to cut, let's see, bring this down a little so you can see. I'm at 4 inches. My metric friends, you'd be cutting at 10 centimeters. So let me bring that down. And then this piece, I'm going to rotate it and cut it at 5 1/4 or 14.9 for my metric friends. And that's going to be my front panel. So let me take this. I'm going to take this sticky note and put that right there so we know. And now I need 2 pieces at 1 5/4 or 4 by 14.4 centimeters. So I'm going to cut this on the actually I'm going to cut 2 inches. So we need 5 1/4 this way, so let me cut that at 5 1/4, or that would be 14.9, actually 5 1/4, 14.4 for my centimeter, my metric friends. And now I can just bring it to my left side, on my right side, and cut 1 inch or 4 centimeters. And then I'll cut another one at 1 inch, or that would be 4 centimeters. And there are my 2 pieces. And since this one has less bees on it, I'm going to turn it over and use that one, and then use this one with the more of the smiley bees. So put that right across like that. And while I have my trimmer out, I can trim my pool party. Like I said, this is a half of a sheet, and so I want to trim it down. So it's a half a sheet, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, or 21 centimeters by 14.9. And I'm going to trim off a little bit to make it 5.5. So it's a square. And so my metric fringe, you would trim it to be 14.9 by 14.9. And then this is just a scrap now. And I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. And my metric fringe, you would score at 10.5. There we go. So now that's correct and scored properly. And then we can put all these pieces here and then work with our scraps. So in order to make this front panel here, I am using another product from the mini catalog. This is the perennial postage dies, and I'm going to use, if you can see, there's these large rectangles, and then there's some smaller rectangles and a square. And I'm going to use this largest of the smaller rectangles. And I'm going to take this to my die cut and emboss machine and run it through. I'll be right back. And there I have my perennial postage die cut. So let's do some stamping now, since we have all these pieces. I'm going to stamp on my inside, I'm going to stamp on my front, I'm going to make some wings, some hearts, and a bee body. Bee body, that's pretty funny. Bee body, like Peabody, but bee body. Okay, and you start with this piece. I'm going to start with my Memento ink, and I'm going to stamp on my, let's do this one last. Let's stamp our bee bodies first. So these are the stripes for the bee, and I wanted to show you this punch here. It looks like a word window, but it actually is the body of the bee. And since I'm going to put it in this way, I want my point, my stinger, to be pointing to the right hand side when I stamp. So let me ink this up. And these are photopolymers, so this is a great set to use when you're trying to line it up and to make sure that you have all the image inked properly, that you haven't missed any areas. I'll stamp my bee with the stinger to the right and press it down, give it a few seconds, transfer it, and that looks wonderful. And then I'm going to stamp on my sentiment panel that you'll always be the one for me. Let me ink this up. And I'm going to center that towards the top. And then give it a nice little press, a few seconds for that ink to transfer. Perfect. So let's punch out our, before we do that, let's finish up our bee. Oh, actually, I want to stamp his antennas, because they're in Memento. So that is this little tiny stamp here, and it actually is one of the smaller, it punches out with the smaller heart. And you can see that the heart is upside down. So I'm going to come in from this direction, and I'm going to stamp on this scrap here. And this is an excellent use for those scraps when you're trimming your cardstock, and I'm going to put that upside down, that, and then bring in my punch and just line those antennas up inside that heart. And there's my little antennae. I'm going to keep this scrap because we're going to stamp some hearts when we get to our sweet sorbet. But I think that is all the mementos. We've stamped the bee body, we stamped that, we stamped there. On the inside we're going to stamp. So let me get my piece of white that is 4 by 5 1/4. That's 10 by 14.4 centimeters. And I'm going to dry fit my DSP just so I know where to stamp my greeting inside. So I'm going to line this up to the side. I'm not going to adhere it just now yet. I'm going to try to just use it as a guide to stamp my Happy Valentine Day. Let me ink this up. And then I can center it in the space to the left of the DSP. Looks nice. And that is all the memento ink we'll be stamping with today. So I'm going to finish my front, my bee. Move these to the side. And bring in my bee body and the daffodil ink. And there is a solid image. I'm going to ink up with my daffodil. And then looking through my stamp, and I'm going to line up the edge of the stinger with the body, and then the stripes. Let's see if I can get my head in here. And then stamp that down, give it a few seconds to transfer. Now, I'm not quite so pleased with that. Let me see if I can re-ink it because this is a photopolymer. Let me get my head back on over this. Much better. It's fabulous when you have photopolymer. You can look through them and line up your stamps. And that is all the Daffodil Delight ink. And now I'm going to bring in my Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to use my scrap of Petal Pink, and it's going to go in here to make the wings. So I want to stamp it upside down in the corner, stamp the wings with Flirty Flamingo. And I use Flirty Flamingo, it's just a little bit darker, and it stands out really nice against that Petal Pink. So I'm going to stamp it upside down in the corner, like so. Put my ink away so I don't put my finger in it. And then bring in my punch. And I'm going to line those wings up in my punch. Let's see. And now I have some bee wings and a little scrap for another project. Oh, well, I have my punch out. I should do my bee. And I was incorrect with saying I was done with my memento ink. I am going to stamp a little face on this bee. There we go. There's the bee. I'm going to bring my memento ink back in and my face. Now this is a winky face. There's 3 faces. There's a smiley face with closed eyes. There's an open eye face, and this is winking. And I thought that that just went so appropriately with You'll Always Be the One for Me. And it's kind of like you're in on the joke, right? Okay, so there's our parts of our bee, and then we're going to stamp some red hearts on this, or actually the hearts are in Sweet Sorbet, and that is part of the color suite for this Bee My suite. Again, I'm going to, because my punch is upside down, I'm going to punch my hearts upside down. I want to stamp them and punch them upside down. So need 3 of them for the inside. So 1, 2, and 3. I'll punch those out in a minute, but while I'm here, I can put some hearts around my insert. Again, we can lay this to dry fit it. Lay the DSP on the right hand side. This is where we're going to adhere it. And I'll put a heart there, over here, and one down this side. And if I had my envelope handy, I would also stamp some hearts on that envelope, just because I could. Punches, do 3 of these Sweet Sorbet hearts. My heart sings. I don't know about you, but my heart sings when I can use up some scraps that I've been holding aside for just the right little project. And I just love being economical with my scraps. And there we go, all done. And now we can start assembling. So I'm going to bring in my multi-purpose glue. And these wings are going on the back, like so. I'll just put a little glue down here at the bottom. Well, I might get a little bit too much, but it's gonna work okay, like so. And then our antennae are gonna be up here. So I'll just put a little dab here on the end of that heart, that smaller heart, for the antennae. We'll set him aside for a minute, and we can work on our card base. We already made those. With my bone folder, I'm going to fold on that crease and then burnish it, just to make it kind of crisp. And I'm going to save this piece to put this in. I want to put my ribbon on first. So let's get ready for that. And we're going to take our DSP. And this is going on the outside. We're going to put the Sweet Sorbet pattern on the front. And there really is no up or down on this pattern, so it doesn't matter. Just going to center it right and left and upside, right and left, top, bottom. Right. And I'm going to Now put my DSP, and this time the Sweet Sorbet pattern is going down, face down, and we're going to have our bees on this side. Just line that up against the right hand edge, and then check the back, and that's this one. It's just off a little bit, so I can just snip that, and there we go. And it's ready for adhering to the card base. Can't wait to get back to my computer once I'm home again and see all the fabulous projects this group has demonstrated. There are some very talented people in this group, so I'm excited to see what they have created. Now I'm going to be using this Sweet Sorbet bordered ribbon that's also part of the suite. It coordinates, and I'm going to place this right down the middle, and I'm doing a faux bow, so I'm going to cut this a little bit longer and then tape it on the reverse side, and I'm going to cut maybe about 4 inches or 10 centimeters. Using my tear and tape, I'll secure the ribbon to the back side. So I'm going to take a piece that is, let's see, about 2 centimeters or maybe just a little under an inch. I'm going to fold my ribbon down. Put my ribbon, center it at the top. Like that. Then bring this end around. And then secure it so it's halfway in the middle. So again, another piece that's maybe 3 centimeters, about an inch, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then just center it between the score line and the edge. And then this small piece, you can go right underneath and just tie this over across. And this creates a faux bow, so if you're short on ribbon or you want to be economical with it, there you go. And I'll trim this up and put a glue dot on it in just in a moment. So here is our DSP part, and this will go on this side to hide the ribbon the way we secured it. Now, when I adhere this, I want to leave about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and about 3 millimeters. So it doesn't go quite to the fold and doesn't go quite to the top. So I'll bring in my liquid glue, and knowing that I am not going quite to the top, I'll just put a thin bead down here and a thin bead on this side, then some in the middle, and I can take off this cover for the, actually let me use my take your pick tool to get underneath and lift up the release paper on that, and that will also help secure the DSP, because that the tear and tape is really sticky. So remembering my border, about 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeters, and then I can secure this. Burnish a little bit, make sure that the glue and the tear and tape adhere it. Now I can trim these edges here. I'm going to do a little bit of a diagonal I said, my mini glue dots, I can secure that tie. I'll just put that right behind the knot and push down, and then it's secured in place. Alright, so for the rest, we put our die cut here, and our bee is going to go here with my, I'll secure that with my liquid glue, my multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm overlaying the flap, so I'm kind of centering it more towards the bottom of the front panel and overlaying the flap. And for my bee, to secure my bee, I'm going to use the dimensionals, and I love dimensionals. So I'm going to put 3, actually 4, put 1 on that. And I'm going to tear a little bit off here, off this edge, because I use all my dimensionals. And put 1 on this, where the antennae are. Remove these. Well, let's see. Before I do that, I kind of want to dry fit him in. So he's going to go right about there. So now I can remove, since I have an idea of where I want to place him, I'll remove these covers. And he's happily buzzing across this. And then we can dry fit our heart, so we'll put 1 here. 1 over here, and then the final one down on this edge. I'm going to bring in my take your pick tool and use that putty end to pick it up. I'll put a little dot of glue right there, and I'll put my heart right on top of that. Put that one up, and this one's going on this. There we go. And then we can pick the final one up. There we go. And there is our fun fold card using the Bee My bundle. Now for a quick catalog tour to see where the products I used in creating my fun fold card. So on page 8 and 9 of the new mini, you can see the Bee My suite, which includes the Bee My Valentine bundle, the Sweet Sorbet bordered ribbon, and the Bee My DSP that I used. And if you turn the page, you can see even more projects with that bundle. And I do love punches, and this one does 2 hearts, a big heart, a little heart, and the bee body, which can also be a word bubble. In addition to that, I also used the perennial postage dies, which are found on page 25, and they're down here. These are the postage, that's the bundle, or you can buy the dies just by themselves. Thank you so much for joining me for this share fair. If you have any questions, get with the demonstrator who invited you to this group if you would like to purchase any of the products to make this card. I will be uploading a photo of this card along with all the ingredients and measurements. Thank you so much for joining me, and then until next time, remember, stamping is fun. Bye!